welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Good. It did it twice.
Oh, sorry about that. I had it on loop.
That explains. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show,
where we are still learning how to use StreamYard.
I love it, though. That's awesome. Hey, everybody, I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Bosser, along with the one, the only Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom land.
We've got him stuttering this morning, everybody. Well, goodness, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yes, just as follow-up, everybody, from last week. If you remember, Mike's beard is not as orange as it was last week.
Not quite as orange.
But thanks to all our listeners, we were able to raise some funds with some big donations from some family who really wanted to see the orange beard.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
Megan.
I have no comment.
That's funny. Angie's been a great supporter. We really appreciate you as well. Even our friends, Three Geeky Dads, were helping support. So we used the funds to do not restream, but we found that StreamYard is much more betterer. I had to get
better.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers. So I'm excited. I'm finding that for our guests, it's an easier platform for them. And we're still learning kind of the back end and stuff, but hey, thanks everybody. We just want to say a big thank you for supporting us, being part of the Two Geeks family. It has been a wild ride. What episode is this, Mike? Which one is this?
We are recording episode number 142 this morning.
Whoa, 142.
And we haven't hit our 2-year mark just yet.
Right.
We are coming up on that, though.
I'm excited because we're coming up on our how many downloads are we coming up on?
We are creeping up on 10,000 downloads. So,
whoa. So just so you know, everybody, as we do stats and we're learning about podcasting, most podcasts do not make it past the 1-year mark.
This is true.
Millions of podcasts do not make it past the 1-year mark. And we are at 18 months and at 142 episodes. And that is all to you guys who are listeners, to our support team, Angie, Megan, to our friends. Gosh, we've had so many people on the show. It's just been splendorific. It has been fantastic.
It amazes me when I look at those stats and I see that we actually have downloads outside the country. You know, we got downloads across the pond in England, UK. We got downloads in Australia, down under. Heck, I've seen downloads from Korea. You know, so it just blows my mind. I'm like, wow, these people are listening to these two nerds outside.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, so
real quick,
you to all of you.
Yeah, thank you. Sage Page Omega is in there. Who said morning? If it isn't Big Mike and Little Steven, LOL. Well, Sage, remember what we said about having you on the show? I may change my mind. No, I'm teasing. Hey, everybody, I am very pumped. Every now and then I'll pop in on Twitch and watch Sage Page Omega play, which he's just phenomenal. phenomenal. And so we chit chatted with him a little bit, and so we've invited him on the show, and I am excited actually about that. So be
Oh, I
listening
think he's
in.
gonna bring some good, influence on us.
He's gonna learn us something.
He's gonna learn us something, right? We could use some learning.
We could. So, oh gosh, it was funny. So, I um I just want to give a big shout out to just all of our friends and supporters who've been helping us out. We do appreciate it sincerely. It allows us to do this. It allows us to have the resource to do this, so that we can have fun conversations. And we have. I think I'm saying all this because we've switched. We're learning. We've switched from a major platform to another major platform, and
Sure.
everything that we're doing is making us better, and all of you are a part of that.
Wait a
Uh,
minute. Is that much more better?
much more better. Well played. I love it. Mike knows. I asked him, we're going to have to say that a lot because I'm a little sleepy this morning, so I need a lot more of my energy drink. Oh my goodness. So, um, neat stuff. I mean, who knew from way back of January 2021, we would be here still today. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this started out of the pandemic and kind of as a stress relief is what this really started out
Yeah,
of.
connectivity and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And it's just turned into something fun that we enjoy doing each
Yeah.
single day.
Well,
So
who knew we'd be going live on Saturday mornings and interacting with people all across the
yeah,
world?
if you had asked me 2 years ago when we started planning this, if we would be going live, I would have said, no, there's no way I'm going live.
Right. Yeah. So I encourage you, if any of you out there are thinking about starting a podcast and you have some friends you want to do it with, absolutely do it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely do it. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your friends. You're doing it for the new friends that you will make. And which is just, that's been one of the greatest things, just having new friends, all up in New England and, Texas and all over the
Right.
place.
Yeah, we've made some great podcast friends too, and that's been fun connecting with these different podcasts and such.
Yeah.
We've become good friends with Nerdery and Murdery and Three
Hmm.
Geeky Dads, and we really enjoy those guys a lot. So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
very thankful to them.
Yep. All right. Well, with that said, enough sappiness. Let's move beyond that. No, I'm just teasing. Okay, here's the dealio. So, everybody, we've got news, we've got Geekdar, and then we've got our main topic today. That I am actually pretty excited about today's show. So, with that, Mike, what is next up for bids today?
All right, so
It is time for the news. What kind of geeky news do we have out
time for
there,
geeky
everybody?
news. Okay, I don't have a whole lot in geeky news. I have a few things though. First of all, we announced last week that James Gunn has been announced as one of the co-heads for the new DCU,
Oh,
DC
right.
Universe,
Yes,
and it's
yes.
no longer the DCEU. Now it's the DCU.
Yeah, I think that's
So
good. That's good.
we have confirmed dates for movies for next year for DC. Yeah.
Okay.
So Shazam will be the first up, and that'll be March 17th,
Okay.
followed by The Flash, which will be June 23rd.
Oh, they're gonna actually release it. That's good.
Well, don't hold your breath. I mean, how many times has that movie been pushed back? Oh, I think they're at the point where it's ready to go at this point. So I think June will be the official date. Let's see. After that, we have the Blue Beetle, which is August 18th. Have you seen trailers for the Blue Beetle?
No.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen trailers, but I've seen like some of the behind the scenes.
I saw
making stuff.
one behind the scenes picture. That's all I've seen of him in
Yeah,
the suit.
that looks really, really good. Blue Beetle is not one of my favorite, DC characters,
Mhm.
but the guy that's playing Jaime is Jose, is it Jose from Karate Kid, or from
Cobra
Cobra Kai.
Kai.
Cobra
Miguel.
Kai.
Is it Miguel?
Miguel. I'm sorry,
It's
it's
Miguel
Miguel.
from Cobra Kai. I
And I
wondered if
love
that
him.
was him. I wondered if that was him.
It's him. It's him. I love him in Cobra Kai. I think he's
Oh,
fantastic.
he's great.
So I think he's going to make a great Blue Beetle. I'm really looking forward to that. Actually,
I'd watch it.
and I didn't think I'd be looking forward to that movie, but I am. And then December 25th, Christmas Day, we have Aquaman. That's Christmas Day next year. Aquaman. And then last on the list is Joker 2. I still cannot say the title of the film. Something Droit, whatever that is. That
Joker
French.
2.
Yeah.
Ooh, here, let me do it. I love French. Je parle français un peu. I speak French a little. So Joker 2.
Yeah, it's all French to me.
Right? It is. That's funny. Oh.
October 4th of 2024 for that one.
Folie à deux.
There you go. So that's pretty much the DC. Well, that's not the total DC news. We also have Sandman season 2 has been confirmed.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk Sandman next week with Sage Page Omega. So
Sage-O.
Sage-O. Sorry, Sage. Didn't mean to mess up your name. What in the world?
Ooh, we got music.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Sorry about that. That was weird.
So, folie à deux means folly of two or madness shared by two.
I mean, that makes sense.
Also known as a shared psychosis or shared delusional disorder, SDD.
Nice. Okay. Well, it sounds like it makes sense for the theme of the movie, so I'll run with it. Oh, and the last of my geeky news is
yes.
Quentin Tarantino has officially went on the record that he will not do a superhero movie. And in other news, water is wet. Yeah, whoop-de-doo. We've heard from you, Quentin Tarantino, about how you have this dislike of the superhero movies. They're taking over the movie theaters right now. Yeah, well, tough.
Yeah.
Tough. That's all I got to say. You know what? If you have such a problem with it, then make a fantastic movie and beat some of these superhero movies. That's all I got to say. Take the challenge.
I think it's just all jealousy, really, because
it is.
He is a master of storytelling in his way. Does that make sense? He's got a certain niche style that he does. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to say that other people are not as good because they're not like yours, I think that's a mistake.
Well, he likes to tear down the superhero movies. You know, they're just for kids and stuff like that. Well, I hate telling this, but the whole superhero genre actually came out of a response. I mean, this is the same reason George Lucas did Star Wars. Actually, it was to come out of the response that our generation really didn't have anything to compare to, like all the classic Greek stories and the Greek gods and you know, the stories of old,
the myths, the great myths.
Right? So these are our myths. These are the same type of things, you know,
and some are better than others.
Some are. I agree. Yeah, you're right. In fact, some of our heroes derive from some of that mythology background. So, you know, I agree. He's just jealous that these are being really successful, and at the moment, he just doesn't have anything to compare to it. So, you know,
yeah,
like I said, in other news, water's wet.
You're so funny. Well, hey, just a reminder, everybody, my other news that I have is it's daylight savings. So don't forget to set your clocks. Fall back, spring forward, fall back.
If you're listening to this on the audio release, daylight savings will have happened like 5 days ago.
That's right. Sorry.
So I just want to throw that out there. Because we do have those that watch us, and we do have those who just listen to us. So.
Yep. Okay, so my big news is for me is I love The Witcher. I love fantasy. You know, Mike and I have
Oh,
those
wait a minute, wait a
discussions
minute.
and stuff.
Are we going into Geekdar here, or is this
No,
just
this is
news?
news.
Oh,
This
okay.
is news.
Okay. I just wanted
Um,
to make sure and clarify that because I didn't do the
right.
Geekdar
Yeah.
sound.
No, this is news. So Henry Cavill is not going to be in season 4 of The Witcher. He is stepping down. He is
Wow.
out.
I wonder why.
Superman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really
Is that
looked into
because
it.
he's putting the cape back on?
I hope so. So the person who's taking his place is Liam Hemsworth, not Chris Hemsworth, but his brother Liam
Okay.
Hemsworth, who I think he's going to do. People are like, "Oh, it's not Henry Cavill." Well, of course it's not Henry Cavill. But do you care about the actor or do you care about the story? And Liam Hemsworth, I think, is going to do a great job
So
being
is
the Witcher.
Liam actually taking over the character that Henry's playing?
That is
Okay.
correct. So they've
See, I
got
don't I
Liam.
don't watch The Witcher, so I know nothing. I knows nothing.
I
Sorry.
know nothing. We we totally should get that soundbite.
I can find that one.
Love me some Hogan's Heroes.
Me too. It was a
So,
fantastic
um, so people are like poo-pooing on it, saying, "Oh, it's not Henry Cavill," and it's like, come on. I think Liam Hemsworth is going to do a great job. I'm looking forward to it because I think he is a good actor and well enough to continue the series. So I'm
I
excited
did
for it.
see a picture, I don't know if it was an artist rendering or what, of
It
him as The Witcher.
is those
I
deep fake pictures,
I thought it looked good. I was like,
It did.
"Wow."
I thought so too. I
Where he's
thought
got,
so
like,
too.
these, glowing eyes and, I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
wow. I think I'd watch that."
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be good. All right, so that is my news that I wanted to share.
Okay. So that's it for the news, so let's move on to what's on our Geekdar.
Well, you don't need that, Private. We're right here. Now, what is it? Now, what is it?
I'm having trouble with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what? The what? And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
Yes, and that has been said about us too.
That is true. All right, I'll start off.
right.
I am catching up on my Three Geeky Dads podcast. Love their podcast, and so we had Mark on to of the Three Geeky Dads to discuss Werewolf by Night, and I thought, ooh, I want to hear their interaction on it and stuff. And I usually listen to podcasts while I'm cooking or whatever. I'm telling you what, I cracked up so much in that episode. Not only did they talk about Werewolf by Night, but they also talked about Hellraiser, and I had watched Hellraiser, the new one. And
Yeah, I'm not sure I wanna watch it after the review.
well, in all fairness, in all openness, I Steven skipped a lot of it.
Yeah, it sounds
Um,
like you might have just Steven skipped the whole thing, at least from what they said.
I just about did. I took a 2-hour movie and probably put in 30 minutes that I
Holy
watched it.
stinkies.
And all. So I would say, and it was so great because I was like, yep, I totally get it, totally understand. And then they introduced some interesting things about Hellraiser lore that I didn't know because I only remember seeing the first one with you years ago, decades ago. And but the one of the things that came up was how they said you should watch it. So the opening sequence is great. And I totally agree with them. Once they throw in the characters, I just skip to any scenes with the Cenobites. There's a scene about the lore, and then I watch the ending, and that's pretty much did it for me. Kind of a thing. It's one of the things they brought up is they said that you just couldn't connect to the characters, and he's right. You couldn't, and stuff. So yeah, Angie says, did I miss much? Nah, you didn't. You don't
saw
miss
that.
much. If you just watch the opening sequence and then skip do the Steven skip through it until there's a Cenobite on screen, then it's good, kind of thing. But it's kind of weird. Sometimes the Cenobites just stood around and didn't do anything. But
I got a better suggestion. Just don't watch it and listen to Three Geeky Dads instead.
yeah, I go with that.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and I might go back and rewatch the original Hellraiser.
Yeah, they did agree. We all agree about Werewolf by Night, that the biggest issue that we all had with Werewolf by Night, that it was too short,
I agree.
that we wanted more.
Yep.
I'm just so impressed with Michael Giacchino, who is a composer who loves movies. But now I realize what makes him a brilliant composer is because he knows movies. Does that make sense? He understands pacing. He understands scenes. He understands story. And that just came through with Werewolf by Night. And it was just fabulous. Plus, the guy who's directing it is the same guy who's doing the music. Oh, it's going to be good.
It was very good. I really enjoyed Werewolf by Night. So,
yeah. All right. That's it for me.
All right. So my Geekdar is a little different today. My Geekdar is actually an action figure. So, earlier this week, some new Star Wars action figures were announced that are coming out. I don't know when they come out, but pre-orders went up this week. And as soon as I saw one of them, I immediately messaged my friend Luke, who runs my favorite classic toy store in Belleville. I had that. I messaged him. I sent him a link, and I said, "Luke, when this comes out, I want it." And he sent me a message back the very next day. Said, "Pre-order's up. I already pre-ordered it." I'm like, "Yes, thank you." So anyway, that action figure is Mara Jade Skywalker.
No.
Yes. And it's the larger here.
Like a 12-inch?
Yeah. It's the Black Series. Like here, Megan, do me a favor. Come on and show this. I can't show it with my green screen. It's not showing up.
Okay, I'll bring her in.
So this is a Black Series of Ahsoka Tano. And Mara Jade will be the same size and detail. That's not my normal action figure size. I prefer 3 3/4. That's a 6-inch.
6-inch, okay.
But I'm not passing up a Mara Jade 6-inch Mara Jade action figure. She's amazing. So, and not to mention, I already have a Jaina Solo one that I love, which is also the Black Series, and I have the Heir to the Empire Skywalker, which will go with Mara Jade.
Mara Jade.
Perfectly.
That's going to be great. Thanks, Megan.
Because the Mara Jade action figure is actually from Dark Force Rising, which is the second book in the Thrawn trilogy. And make it through. So cat.
Throw it.
Uh-oh. You dented the corner, Megan. No, I'm just kidding.
It's fine. I'm not as precious with some of the packaged ones. Some of them.
Right.
There are a few. Anyway, so that's what's on my Geekdar today. Mara Jade action figure. Looking forward to that. And trust me, when it comes out, I will show it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. When does that come out again?
I have no clue. I just know the pre-order went out. So it'll probably be next year sometime.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, with that, it's time for the main event.
Let's get ready. Oh, sorry.
Oh, right.
So, Steven, what is our main event today?
Our main event is on the Roku channel. Dun, dun, dun. There is a new movie that is free for all to see.
If you have Roku.
Yes, but you can actually sign up for an account and then you can actually stream it on the Roku app. And it is Weird Al. Weird, the
Yes.
Al Yankovic story. I
Yes, Weird Al Yankovic. I have been a fan of Weird Al Yankovic probably since the album Dare to Be Stupid came out, which is
okay.
one of my all-time favorite Weird Al albums. That one in 3D. Yeah, I love both of those albums. And I can just remember listening to him when I was a kid thinking, this guy is so cool.
Right?
Oh, absolutely love Weird Al Yankovic. I
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly think Weird Al is a musical genius. I really, really believe that. And
Mhm.
his band is pretty darn phenomenal. I mean, his band can mimic almost any style of music there is, and to a T, perfectly. I
Mhm.
That takes good musicianship, you know?
Right.
So, you know, a lot of people just write him off, "Oh, he's just a parody artist." No, he's actually a little more than that, you know? I mean,
He's more
yes,
than that.
his music is silly, of course, but if you break it down and you look at the things that he's parodied and you look at the music that he's done, it's actually pretty genius.
It is. It is. It's really good. Yes. Um, y- I um, eh, are we going to do like our reviews and stuff, or are we just talking about Weird Al right now?
Yeah, well, yeah. Sure.
Here's the thing about Weird Al. My first Weird Al song that I remember hearing was Yoda. Yo yo
Yogi
Yoda, because I was a
Yoda,
big Star Wars fan. I was like, "Oh, somebody did something with Star Wars. Oh, it's a fun. Oh, that's a fun song." Kind of a thing. So,
which is a parody of Lola.
yeah, yep. And so that was my first introduction to Weird Al way back. And I really didn't realize. I think even at that time, there's whole album fulls until later. Kind of a thing. Um, so I quite enjoyed I've enjoyed his music over the years, and he is a brilliant lyricist. It
Agree.
is not it is not just it's not just, hey, I'm going to throw in some fun lyrics. No, there's a genius behind those lyrics when he
Oh,
does them.
there's definitely a thought behind everything he does. You know,
Right.
he thinks this stuff out, and it's not just, "Oh, I can find this word to rhyme with this, and then we'll go with that," you know?
Mhm.
There is a lot more process to it than just that, you know?
Mhm.
And people just write him off as, he's just a silly guy." Well, yeah, he is. That is true, but he's way
Mhm.
more than that. He's a little more complex, actually.
Yes. Yes. All right. So this how would you define what category, what genre would you put this kind of a
What is
film in?
biopic, or is that, I think that's the is that the
Biopic is a word, but I'm almost want to call it a mockumentary.
well, I agree. It
It's a
is
drama.
right. It's almost like a a parody of a biopic pick.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. It really
Right.
is. Yeah.
Which, I mean, just sums up Weird Al.
Right. I love how at the beginning Weird Al comes up and he's like, "Thank you for watching my totally
Yeah,
true, story."
it was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my
There
gosh.
was a point in it where I was like, "Yeah, this is not a totally true story, but I'm loving it."
But now, okay, when we get into it, I actually got some facts about
Okay.
the movie that, believe it or not, some of it is actually true. Now, some of that has to be taken with a grain of salt, and
Okay.
and and you gotta realize that Weird Al played it up for comedy, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
But
for entertainment.
right, but there are hidden facts within the movie that I was just like, "Oh, wow, that's interesting." And I've been a Weird Al fan since I was a kid, so yeah.
Okay, so what's your rating for the weird the Al Yankovic story on Roku?
So I was thinking for our scale, we either give it um Hawaiian shirts, or what
Okay.
else did I say? Hawaiian shirts, and I had another pick too, and now I don't remember what it was. What did I say?
Accordions?
Oh yeah, or accordions. Hawaiian shirts or
Thanks,
accordions.
Megan.
Thank you. Ah, my head's not yeah. Penguins was sliding off the iceberg there for a second.
Right.
So what do you think? Accordions or Hawaiian shirts?
Looks like Angie in the chat voted for accordions.
Okay. Accordions?
I think accordions were a big part of the story in the
Sure.
way they played it out. There were several things about accordions, so let's go with accordions.
All right, sounds good. All right. You want to start, Steven?
Yes. Okay. I absolutely loved this movie. Absolutely enjoyed it. It put a smile on my face. It's been a full week of work. I don't know how everybody else is, but man, I'm so thankful for the weekend. And I started off my weekend by watching this, and I am very thankful for it. So I'm giving it 9 out of 10 accordions because
Nice.
it just I love Weird Al, yes, but um it as I said, Weird Al gets in the beginning of it, just, oh, my total true story. And I'm like, uh-oh, kind of thing. And it was entertaining. It was fun. Now, Daniel Radcliffe did okay. He did okay for it. I'm okay with that. Some of the story elements, you get to the point you're like, no way this is true. So I'm so interested in hearing your
But that's
hearing
part of
your
what
fact.
made the whole thing so funny. Is
Yes,
some of it
absolutely.
was just so ridiculous,
Yeah, like what part of this true and what part of it's not. And so yes. Now, I did almost get to the point where I started Steven skipping part of it because I was
Oh
like,
man.
I didn't, but I almost did because I was like,
All
well,
right. All
Steven,
right.
you're enjoying it and stuff.
Since you brought that up,
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
were about 3/4 of the film through the film. I
Yes.
looked at Brenda and I said, if Steven says he Steven skipped on this movie, I am flying out to Montana and I'm smacking him.
I almost did.
Oh, Steven.
Yeah. I mean, but I knew what they were going for. It was the whole thing of him being drunk and yelling at his teammates and Madonna being a bad influence. I
Okay,
hope
well,
I'm not giving it.
we'll
We'll get to all that.
yeah, we'll get to
But
all that.
I didn't quite do it here. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah. So, anyway.
All right. So my turn.
Yes.
All right. I have to admit, when I heard Daniel Radcliffe was playing Weird Al, I went, "What?"
Yeah.
Number one, the guy is nowhere near as tall as Weird Al. Actually, Weird Al's fairly tall, and I'm like, he's so short. I mean, come on, Daniel Radcliffe, really? And he doesn't look a thing like Weird Al. But after seeing what the movie was, I think he did a fantastic job, actually. I watched it and I'm going, okay, I think I see why they picked him, because he did a good job of mimicking Weird Al. I mean, not music wise, but just his mannerisms and things like that. And even better, he parodied Weird Al, which is genius. I loved it.
Mhm.
I absolutely loved it. Um, and I have to say, we okay. I don't have a Roku device, and unfortunately, it would not play on Apple TV because Apple and Roku don't like each other. Which I mean,
Oh, bummer.
I can I can kind of understand that, but we have a friend, and his name's Zach. Zach sometimes listens, I think. Zach decided to have a showing at Enjoy Church, and he put on Facebook, this is not a church function, church
Right.
sanctioned function. Which, and then about, I think 15 minutes into the movie, he turns around to us and goes, "See, this is why I couldn't made it a church sanctioned function," which I thought was hilarious. It was so funny. So I got to see it with a group of about, I think 15 people were there.
Oh,
Wish,
nice.
I wished he could have got more, but we had fun. We had a good time. It was so much fun. And right at the beginning, Zach made the comment that he goes, "I apologize. This is on Roku, so there's probably going to be commercials." And halfway through the movie, I looked at it and said, "You know what? I actually needed the commercials from relief of laughing so much." So it was one of the few times that I will actually
You were thankful for the commercials.
approve, yeah, of commercial breaks. So um,
That's
I
good.
thought this movie was hilarious. I laughed from all the way from the beginning to the end. I thought he did such a good job of parodying himself, which just sums up Weird Al so well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and I mean, it was so ridiculous that it was so funny. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Uh, I am a big fan of This Is Spinal Tap, which is the
It's
very
too big.
but 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 see, these go to 11. Well, why not just turn it, why don't you just make 10 a little bit louder? But see, these go to 11. Anyway, if you have not seen This Is Spinal Tap, it's another genius movie. It is just freaking hilarious. So, being a huge fan of Spinal Tap, I love this style of music of this movie. Spinal Tap was the first mockumentary, and I think it's perfect that Weird Al basically did a mockumentary of himself.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So, with
Yeah.
that said, I give this 10 out of 10 accordions.
Oh, we need like an angelic sound or something when you give a 10 out of 10 or something.
And yes, part of that is my love for Weird Al, but I mean, the movie is hilarious. It is so funny. Even my wife, who's not the biggest Weird Al fan, she kind of cringes and rolls her eyes at a lot of Weird Al stuff. Some stuff she really enjoys. Even she was laughing almost as much as I was, and which
Yeah.
to me just made it that more enjoyable. It's like, oh my gosh, she's actually enjoying this. This is hilarious.
Yeah. Angie says this. She said, it was way better than I thought. Agreed.
Wait a minute. So it was much more better.
Much more better. Uh-oh.
I'm getting them in today.
You are, because I think I'm about empty. This may be my last drop. Good stuff.
So yes, I give it 10 out of 10 accordions.
Right on. Right on. What did you like best about this it's not really a documentary. I think you're right. It's a biopic, but it's a mock biopic.
Yeah, mock-opic.
We made a new word. It's a mock-opic.
I actually love the two. We kind of had two subplots going in this film. We had the subplot of the love story between Weird Al and Madonna, which was freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh, I thought that was so funny. And then we have this subplot of Weird Al doing his all completely not made up original lyrics and music of Eat It.
It cracked me up. Yeah. and how Michael Jackson,
He was
came
riding
out
on
with
his
Beat It.
coattails.
Right. it was at that point that I was like, yeah, I'm for sure this is not all true.
Really? That's the point? You waited that long to realize that? It's
Right.
funny. Brenda, I forget, something happened, and Brenda looked at me and she goes, "That's not true." And I looked at her and go, "Really? This is where you say that's not true?" There
Right.
hasn't been almost anything in this that's true.
What's really funny is though it progresses. So in other words, as
Oh,
the
yeah.
movie progresses, it gets more and more outlandish.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was that in itself was a genius.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, because it was, we'll do a little bit here, we'll do a little bit here, make people wonder about this here, wonder about this here, and then it just goes full blown. You're like, after this point, it was all, I don't want to say it was all downhill, but it was all like, yeah, none of this happened, but it is so funny.
And I love that Weird Al gave himself a part in the movie too. 'Cause
Yes.
he played the record executive who
Yeah.
was
The two brothers.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but when they go to see Weird Al in concert and he's sitting there and the woman sitting next to him, that's actually Weird Al's wife.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, that is his real life wife. So,
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
she got to be in the film too, which was great, which was fantastic.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
all right, so you want me to run through some of my facts that I found about the movie?
Yes, I would love to hear some of these.
Okay, so it opens up with Weird Al in his childhood, and it really portrays his parents as being very strict, hard nosed, and I'm sitting here watching it. I'm like, I know Weird Al has had a great relationship. I say had because they did pass away several years ago. They passed away in a tragic uh, accident, I should say, because
Oh,
they died of carbon monoxide poisoning over the night, actually, while Weird Al was on tour. So, not to bring the podcast down, but that's a true life story. That's really what happened.
huh.
But I know that he had this really good relationship with his parents, just from everything I had seen in the past. So I'm sitting here going, "Oh, come on, this is insane." Okay,
Right.
but his parents were actually a little bit strict. They were very, very religious folks. His mom would not allow him to have friends over for sleepovers, and he was not allowed to go over other friends' house for sleepovers. Um, she would only allow him to ride his bicycle to his aunt's house, who only lived a half a block away. And she went out and watched him till he got to the aunt's house. So, in a wacky way, there is a bit of truth to that. Which I found fascinating. I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I could see that his parents. I could see where that. Now, it wasn't like it was portrayed in the film, though.
Right. Well, I'm not saying anything. I'm keeping silent because I have Life 360 app for my son, my stepson.
Oh, I
And I'm watching him when he goes to the park. I'm
no,
like,
no, no. I didn't say there's any. Didn't say there was anything necessarily wrong with that. Okay, I mean that was different than you and I as kids growing up, though. I
Right.
mean, I don't know about you, but when I was Weird Al's age that he was being portrayed in the film, I mean, I get up on a summer morning, hop on my bicycle, I'm riding all over town, and my parents didn't know where I was until I came home for dinner. You know,
Right.
that's just the way our generation was.
Right.
So I mean, that was odd. He's only, I don't know what, 8 years older than us. So, he's not a whole lot older than we are. And so he's in that similar timeline. And I find that fascinating that they were that way. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't like they were in the film. In the film, they were borderline abusive. And
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't his parents at all.
Right.
So, the other thing I found hilarious was the scene where he's hiding under the bed covers with his radio, listening to the Dr.
Dr.
Demento
Demento.
show. That actually is true. He actually did
Okay.
that. Yeah, I found that fascinating. I was like, really? Wow. His mom did not approve of the Dr. Demento show. She thought it was a bad influence, which I was like, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
my first Dr. Demento song was "Stick your head in a bucket of shaving
Shaving
cream, thick,
cream.
nice, and clean."
Shave every day. You'll always be keen. I love that song, by the way. That's a great My dad used to have that on an album called Funky Favorites. That Monster Mash, and
Oh
I don't
yeah.
remember. It was a great album. A lot of fun stuff. See, this is why I love Weird Al. I love those kind
Right.
of songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, as a kid, his mom didn't. When he was a kid, his mom did not approve of the Dr. Demento show, so he actually would hide under the covers and turn his little transistor radio down low so that he could try to listen to it without her hearing him, which I found fascinating. I thought that was
That's great.
so. There is a hidden truth in there,
Love it.
amazingly enough. Let's see. When we get the scene where the door-to-door salesman comes to sell him the accordion,
Yes.
there is actually a truth to this.
Oh.
He really did get his first accordion from a door-to-door salesman. It's true.
What?
Yeah. Now, the
Wow.
door-to-door salesman was actually selling both guitars and accordions.
What a mix. What a mix.
Right. Right. Isn't that great? But the accordion was not Weird Al's choice. The accordion was his mom's choice.
Really?
Yes, she actually was a fan of Frank Yankovic, who was considered the polka king at the time. And no, he is not related to the Yankovics, as in Weird Al Yankovic.
Mm-hmm.
Just happens to have the same name, which to me is also fascinating. I mean, wow. So she was a fan of him, and she wanted Al to learn the accordion. So she bought him an accordion,
Nice.
and he spent a lot of time learning to play, and he got quite good at it too. So another little hidden truth that, it was freaking hilarious in the film. They did such a good job of that. Another kind of hidden truth was in the film, he goes off to college, or well, I don't know. It wasn't. I don't know if it was in college. They had the party, which
Yeah, the polka party.
right, the polka party. That was so funny. What bunch of teenagers or young 20-year-olds have a polka party?
Right.
And it's that point where Weird Al just explodes. Well, again, there's a slight truth to this. Weird Al actually used the accordion to break out of his shyness in college, because he would break it out for his dorm mates and buddies in college and play songs on the accordion.
That's awesome. I loved it how in the movie it was like they were like, we want you to play this accordion, and like, then they started doing da 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 da, calling him a chicken, da 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 da.
It's actually on the soundtrack too.
That's awesome. So then all of a sudden he puts it on, he gets to play, and then he plays, and then the whole crowd was like, everybody paused, everybody was quiet, and then
he was almost like either the Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen of
accordions.
accordions.
I love that. That's good.
Which, by the way, Weird Al has done the whole Jimi Hendrix thing. You know how Hendrix sets the guitar on fire on stage and all that stuff. There's a famous shot of him doing that. Weird Al did mimic that one time in concert, and I think he burned an accordion just the same way Hendrix did with the guitar.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, man, he's a master at mimicry.
Yeah.
So, okay, now we move on to him recording his first song, which, the inspiration for My Bologna was hilarious.
Right.
So he's sitting around with his friends, and they were kind of making fun of him. And I forget, they told him to do something, and then he's like, well, if you're not going to do that, make me a sandwich. So Weird
Right.
Al's like, well, what do you want? Well, use My Bologna. And then, of
Right.
course, he's hearing My Sharona. on the radio, and miraculously, my Sharona
Yeah.
the needle gets stuck, and it's stuck on my
My Sharona. Yeah.
my Sharona, and all of a sudden he's looking at the Bologna, going like, oh, wait a minute. And then the toast pops up, and he just gets all the inspiration right there at that moment.
Right.
It was just genius. I loved it. I was like, this is freaking hilarious. But so then they go to record his first recording, and they go they go to a bathroom to record it. Again, this is true.
What? They did?
Now, okay, in there, they went to a bus station to record it. In real life, he actually went to California Polytechnic State University, because it was during his time in college, and he used a bathroom at the college, and that's where they actually recorded his first recording. I'm just blown away by the little facts that were just totally exaggerated, but were actually true in this film.
That is great. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and I loved the whole I'm going to send off my tape and become famous overnight, and all this stuff. And I was, before we were recording, I was actually watching just a little bit of an interview he did with Howard Stern, and he made the comment. He goes, "I went viral before viral was a thing." And all I could think of was that moment in the film when he sends the tape off and then comes back in the apartment, and it wasn't Dr. Demento. I don't remember what the radio host was, but the, the radio host was already playing his song on the radio. Oh, so funny. So
That
funny.
is funny.
Okay, and so then when he sent in My Bologna to Dr. Demento, that actually got the attention of lead singer Doug Feiger, I think that's how you pronounce his name, of the Knack. And
Okay.
the Knack is the one who recorded the original song, My Sharona. And he actually liked the song. He really enjoyed it. And he went to the vice president of Capitol Records and told them that they needed to sign Weird Al.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, that's fascinating. I
That
love
is fascinating.
So the Knack, the lead singer of the Knack, is actually part of his story of how he got out there. So thought that was interesting.
That is very interesting. Yeah, Doug
Um,
Feiger. Yes.
Let's see. And Weird Al's first song, well, the song that he was discovered by Dr. Demento was a song called Belvedere Cruising, and it was a song about his family car, actually. And the last fact I have.
Okay. Drum roll, please.
This is awesome because it plays into one of my favorite parts, one of my favorite plot lines of the whole film, the whole Madonna Weird Al love story, which was phenomenal. Phenomenon. Oh, sorry.
Phenomenal. It is
Anyway.
phenomenal.
Madonna actually did suggest to a friend of hers that Weird Al cover her song Like a Virgin, and she came up with the title Like a Surgeon.
Really?
Yeah, it is true. It really happened that way. I mean, that
That's
part of it happened that way.
part of it, yes.
Not the whole
Relationship.
She comes to him and manipulates him, and has a
Right.
relationship with him, and in 6 hours they're in love, and
Right.
which was so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
been the best 6 hours of my life.
right. Oh gosh. So yeah, she came up with the idea. She came up with the title, and she suggested it to a friend of hers, and her friend knew Weird Al's manager and went to him, presented it to Weird Al's manager, gave the idea to Weird Al's manager. He took it to Weird Al. Weird Al normally would not take suggestions from other people on his song titles and everything. But Weird Al, even he had to admit the title was so genius that he had to run with it.
Yeah.
And it is. It's a fantastic parody. He does such a good job on that song.
Yeah, that's awesome. Real quick shout outs. Nerdery Murdery is in the house. Hey guys. Janelle is here. Hey Janelle.
Morning.
Top of the morning to you. And all. So very cool. Very cool. How interesting.
So those are my facts. The true facts of Weird Al. Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
That's funny. That's good. I what was your favorite part?
I gotta say, there was a part that I was not expecting that blew me away, because I am a huge fan of the Doors movie.
Okay.
I absolutely love the movie The Doors, and basically the life story of Jim Morrison. I think that is such a good movie, so well done. Val Kilmer plays such a good Jim Morrison. And as soon as he came out on stage and he's drunk and he refused to put the eat it or beat it jacket on, because, after all, the kid from the Jackson 5 is riding his coattails.
Right. He said that it was great.
You mean the kid from the Jackson 5?
Right.
So funny. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
As George Lucas would say, it's funny. It's funny. Anyway, yeah, I was so shocked, because as soon as he came out wearing the leather pants, no shirt, with a bottle of Jack Daniels, I'm going, he's freaking Jim Morrison. It's Jim Morrison. Oh my gosh, he's parodying the Doors now. And then he did the whole routine and got arrested for indecent exposure on stage. I was like, this is so funny. I did not expect that whatsoever. It was the most unexpected scene in the entire film, and it was genius. Absolutely loved it. I gotta say, that's probably one of my all-time favorite parts of the film.
That was a good scene.
Oh gosh.
You want me to whip it out?
I'll show it to you. But you gotta really want it. Jim Morrison did the exact same thing.
Yeah. Then he goes to get his accordion, but he gets tackled by the police.
Right. And then, did you catch when they did the news report? They interrupted President Reagan's presidential address to show that Weird Al was arrested for indecent exposure.
Yeah.
You do not get any funnier than that. That
was great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, again, just genius. Once my favorite parts was really on the whole train of going just beyond crazy. The Pablo Escobar stuff just killing me.
And that stuff kind of plays back to UHF when he was parodying Rambo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I had flashbacks to the Rambo scenes of UHF. That's what I had right there. That was so funny.
It was great.
Oh
yeah.
Gosh.
I've killed more people this week than I ever have. I love how they played out Madonna as taking over Pablo Escobar.
Right.
and then at the end she murders, I mean,
he was assassinated in 1983.
Right. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, it just the whole thing progressed to crazy, crazy, crazier, craziest, and then just the much more crazier than anything else before. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it was kinda like every scene he had to top him, top the story. You
he had
just
to go a
make
little
it
bit more,
more and
just a
more.
few steps more, and then a
Right.
few steps more, and yeah.
And I
I
did not see the end coming at all. I didn't see that whole assassination
I
thing
didn't
at all.
either, and it just cracked me up.
Oh,
I
me
mean,
too.
just like, oh my god, and I'm like, it's ending here.
Right.
Did you see the post credit scene or mid
Yes.
credit scene and stuff?
Well, and I loved how he imposed his face on all kinds of different pictures, and some of them he imposed his face over Daniel Radcliffe's face from the movie.
Right?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
I gotta buy this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a second watch.
Oh my
You know,
god.
it's gonna be kind of like UHF. It's gonna be like Monty Python Holy Grail. That vein of something funny you go back to watch again and just have a great laugh and a smile on your face, kind of a thing. I will say this. I was going to say this at the beginning. It's why I
Yep.
kind of paused at the beginning, but I was watching on my Roku, and my Roku overheated halfway through, and I was like,
Probably from the laughter.
probably, and I was like, dang, it's never happened like that before, and
Oh,
and
Weird Al
so
almost burned up your Roku.
Roku, right? I was
That is
getting this.
awesome.
I was just getting this red light, and all of a sudden it pops up on this. Go to this web page on my Roku, and sure enough, it's overheating.
Roku couldn't handle Weird Al. I love it.
Right.
That's amazing.
So
Oh,
I ended up. I was like, no, I got to watch it. So I have the Roku app on my phone, and because that's how I control the Roku is I use my phone as my controller because I've lost
right.
my Roku controller. So, so I just, I've used it. So I just pulled it up and then signed in and then just watched it on my phone.
When I was a kid, I was the remote control for my dad.
I think we both were.
Yeah, I'd be in my bedroom. My dad calls me in the living room. Hey, come here. What? Change the channel for me. Really? You called me in here for this? And then you change the channel and you start to watch. No, 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 no. Don't go away. I may not want to watch this. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Right.
And then it gets worse because now you've touched the television set and we didn't have cable. We had an over-the-air antenna on top of the house, and you touch the television set, and guess what?
Yep.
The reception comes in better. And my dad goes, "Don't move. That's the best reception I've had all day.
Yeah.
Now I'm part of the antenna too."
Here's what Angie said. She goes, I was the antenna.
I was the remote and the antenna both.
Oh man. Yes. Yes. Well, good show. Good show, my friend. It was I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was just for what it was genius. It really was.
I was hoping that you would like this movie. I really didn't know going into it because I mean, you and I don't talk a lot about Weird Al, and and I've been a huge fan of Weird Al since I was a kid. And it's just something that's not been on mine and your geekdar together, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't know how you were going to feel about this going into it. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I
Good.
really did. I enjoyed it.
And I really did tell Brenda, if you Steven skip this film, I am going to get plane tickets. I'm gonna fly to Montana. I'm gonna slap.
Well, good news is you don't have to fly to Montana to
That's
slap
good.
me.
Although it would have been nice to go to Montana, but
Absolutely.
I would have enjoyed that. But and it would have hurt me to slap you too.
Oh,
But I would have done it for the show.
right. I'll sacrifice for the show.
The things I'll do for the podcast.
That's right. That's funny. That's funny. All right, everybody. Well, we are wrapping up another wonderful, fun episode, number 142, as we mentioned earlier, on our way to 150, on our way to 200 to 1,000. So pretty excited. Thanks so much for joining us. I would love in the comments for everybody, put in your favorite Weird Al song, and I will add it to my Spotify playlist.
Oh.
I would love to hear what our listeners, what their favorite Weird Al song is.
Oh, that'd
So,
be
Too
awesome.
many.
there's too many.
Gosh, I don't even know where I would start. Man, there's so many. Gosh, yeah. And I like. And here's a Weird Al tip. And Angie's gonna cringe at me. I would encourage you to listen to some of Weird Al's actual original songs, which, by the way, is not "Eat It."
No.
You Don't Love Me Anymore is
Fight Song. I love Fight Song. Absolutely love it.
You Don't Love Me, and oh gosh, I can't think of the other one. Anyway, he's got a bunch of original songs that are not parodies, and they are just as genius as his parodies.
Yeah.
So I would if you have not, if you've not been a big fan of Weird Al for long, and you haven't heard everything, I would highly suggest listening some of his non-parody songs. And he does parody styles too, where he will actually parody, like Dare to Be Stupid, which is one of my favorite Weird Al songs. That's actually a parody of Devo, the band Devo themselves, not just, it's not a Devo song in particular, but just the style of Devo, which
Right.
by the way, go
Seeing
back
them at the party.
Yeah. Oh, well, oh yeah, I forgot the party. Did you see all the different people in the party?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Andy Warhol was there. Devo was there.
Wolfman Jack, played by Jack Black.
Played by Jack. He actually did a really good. Yeah, and I got to give kudos to Rainn Wilson, who's known for The Office, which I didn't watch The Office, but he was genius as Dr. Demento.
He was fabulous as Dr. Demento.
Oh my gosh, he did such a good job. I thought he was incredible. And the voiceover was Diedrich Bader, who he's been known for Drew Carey Show. He's been known for he was Jethro in Beverly Hillbillies.
Beverly Hillbillies, yep.
But one of my favorite portrayals of him is actually the voice of Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold. So yeah, he's played Batman also, which is funny. When it came on, I was like, "Ooh, that's Batman's voice," but I was thinking it was the Lego Batman, and then Angie,
which is Will Arnett,
right? Which Angie pointed out to me after we left. She's like, "No, actually, it was Diedrich Bader." And when she said that, I was like, "Wait a minute, he's still Batman." So, I mean, technically, I was right.
Technically, yes.
Still Batman. So, that was fantastic. Oh, and when we got the scene with, sorry, I just lost it.
It's all right.
When we got the scene with, remember he goes, "I'm a guy from Queen," which I was like, I think that's supposed to be Brian May, but then it threw me off because he said he was the bass player, and I'm like, okay, well, Brian May actually played guitar. He didn't play bass. So I'm not sure who I know he wasn't supposed to be Freddie Mercury. That's all I know.
Right.
That was a hilarious scene too, though. Oh yeah, you think you're so good. Why don't you make a parody of our song?
Yeah.
And he comes up with another one, Rides the Bus, right on the back.
Right.
And I love it how everybody around him joins in with it. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. I'm going to let you finish up and close up.
That's all right. We're all good. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the Two Geek Show. We'll probably still be talking about it for a few minutes later, but hey, Great to have you with us. Hey, please check out our website at twogeeksmike.com, twogeeksmike.com. That is our central hub for everything. Get you to all the other pages, such as our Facebook page, our merch page, where we've got some shirts. I am finalizing some details on a Steven Skip logo. So
Cool. I haven't even seen it yet.
No, so almost done with it. But anyway, so we'll have Steven Skip, and then also it also directs you to our Ko-fi page. Our Ko-fi page. Some say coffee, some say Ko-fi. ko-fi.com/2geeks. That's where you can support us. We've got a membership model where there's $1 tier, $2 tier, $3 tier. $1 tier is appreciation level, just saying thanks for what we do. The $2 tier gets you some bonus audios of our sci-fi special and some other stuff. And then $3 tier gets you the videos of like the sci-fi specials and more. So it just helps us pay for all the stuff of what we're doing. That's it. So for our podcast service, for our StreamYard service that we use and things like that, and just have a good time. So
you got to get used to not saying
Restream.
our other one, Restream.
The old one, Restream. Yep.
Yeah, I already
StreamYard
forgot
now,
it.
So right. So all right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Love having you here. If you want to get a hold of us, you can get us at show@twogeeksmike.com and connect with us there. So with that, Mr. Mike, do you want to finish closing us out?
Yeah, just make sure and if you watch this on YouTube to like the video, go click the bell to get the notifications of when we're on, all that good stuff all the YouTubers say.
Right.
You guys know it, but that really does help with the algorithm and for people to find us and so on and so forth. Also, if you haven't done it yet, please go rate and review us on your podcast choice. If you are an audio listener, we appreciate you very much. I think that's all I got. So with that said, man, I didn't have a Weird Al saying, oh my gosh.
May the accordion be with you.
Just everybody get weird. How's that?
Sounds great.
All right. Later. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
May the force be with you.